Hey everyone, in tonight's Path of Exile shenanigans we've got a righteousfire chieftain doing endless delve. The video is half guide and half tips because at the end of the day solo self-found is a more complex experience than the regular trade-enabled leagues, and boy, this has been quite the experience. Now, I am fully aware that I did not post a build guide for this event, and that is mostly due to the nature of endless delve. Solo self-found, no gear and prophecy vendor, no divination card turn-ins, no anointing, and finally no crafting bench. So planning a build beforehand when so many things are working against you on top of RNG is kinda not a very smart idea, which is why I tackled this one on the go. And building this character ended up being a rather unique challenge if I do say so myself, but we'll talk about that later on the video. With that said, hey, if you enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, otherwise a rating and a comment are always appreciated. And if you are playing or played Endless Delve, let me know how you are doing or did. It's a rather unique event with a certain degree of added difficulty, so I am interested in knowing y'all's progress. And now let us talk about the Endless Ring of Fire. We are gonna begin with the gear, because while the tree is very important, the gear takes priority, especially in a rather limited environment. And I'm actually not gonna recommend specific things or mods to hunt for, because at the end of the day, RNG giveth and RNG taketh away, am I right? So for example, you wanna get as much life as possible anywhere and everywhere on the gear. This is because righteousfire scales off its damage from your HP. Plus you wanna have a healthy character down there, because the mines get hectic really fast. Besides that, I will recommend focusing your gear on armor and energy shield hybrids, because we need a lot of red and blue sockets. We do use some greens here and there, but mostly red and blue. Now, I obviously would have liked a 5 link at least, but the only one I came across was dexterity based, which means it'll hardly roll desirable colors. I also came across a tabula, which I did not wear because tabula rasa does not have life or resistances, and in a scuffed event like this, I'd rather have some modicum of defenses. Anyways, we're also gonna need dexterity, as much as you can cram into the character, but try to get it on the gear, because sacrificing skill points on dexterity nodes can get a little bit obnoxious. Also, for the first time ever, at least in my case, getting flat life regen on your gear is a godsend. The more that you can get, the better, as that is also going to help deal with the constant degen of righteousfire. We obviously want to have some movement speed, and in an event like this, any movement speed alongside life and resistances is always good. Unfortunately, RNG is a mischievous entity and sometimes it enjoys screwing with the fabric of reality. So, for example, if you can find boots like these slink ones but armor or energy shield based, be sure to equip them. For the weapon, scepters, daggers or wands that roll any fire damage over time multiplier or burning damage alongside increased fire damage are best in slot. And you can obviously gamble them using fossils, but sometimes luck isn't on our side, right? Anyways, I wanna do a small break here because I did come across the Searing Touch. This stuff is really freaking good for fire damage over time builds. I used it on the Armageddon brand Ignite Chieftain and it would have come in handy here. But the degen from righteousfire prohibits us from using this stuff, which takes us to the shield department, and I wanna talk about these two first before the one I've got. Initially, I was using this rare kite shield with some resistances, elemental damage and % life regen. At roughly level 50 I found Springleaf, which is superior in the realm of dealing with the degen from righteousfire, and I stuck with this shield for around 39 levels until I found Rise of the Phoenix, which was an extremely lucky drop and best in slot for righteousfire. However, not everyone is going to have the same RNG luck, so in your case any kite shield with life regen of any sort and resistances is good. Bonus points if it rolls elemental damage. I'm also using Meginord's Girdle and that isn't special. So any rare belt with life regen and resistances is going to be better. However, I did come across an Elder influenced belt that I tried rolling, because these bases can have life recovery rate alongside increased maximum life, which is kinda superior to any other stuff that we find. However, I didn't have any luck. And finally, for gear, I found Pyre in like the last 20 minutes of my grinding to 90. It's really good for this build, but again RNG. If it drops, great, if not, any ring with life resists and life regen or dexterity is good enough. For flasks, we obviously want a sulfur flask, but I did not find a single one. RNG, right? Anyways, a granite or basalt alongside a quicksilver or two and your life flasks is good enough. Now let us talk about that tree. However, the Ascendancy is first and we are doing a Chieftain. Why? Because we've got life regen and free fire resistance, endurance charge generation alongside life regen and damage, fire damage over time multiplier, and covering enemies in ash alongside strength, which translates into more life. I'm pretty sure that Juggernaut is equally as good with dealing with the degen, but the Chieftain here is going to give you more DPS, especially in a scuffed event like this one. From there on out, I am making this guide at level 90 because that's where I'm wrapping up my adventure. But also so that you can get a solid idea of what to do to get you started, and obviously if you wanna push, you know, for 95 or maybe delve a little bit deeper. Okay, so we are gonna begin this thing by taking life, both life regen nodes, more life, unwavering stance, more life, and we are gonna move towards the Templar area, grabbing fire damage, armor and life regen, more life regen, more life, damage, area and damage, resistances and damage, life, elemental damage, more life, and fire damage over time multiplier. From there we want life, fire damage, area and damage, and more life. After all of those are taken care of, we can spec into elemental overload. We also need aura reservation and bonuses allocated near the Templar area. Warcry stuff, endurance charges, and a bit more life, especially constitution. Finally, if you are lacking dexterity, grab the notables near the Marauder and Templar areas, or the one near elemental overload. And if you happen to come by a nice jewel, be sure to allocate it. And we are gonna jump back into the character because we are gonna wrap this with the gem setups. In the body armor, righteous fire linked to efficacy, elemental focus, and burning damage. Link number 5 is either inspiration or conk effect, and link 6 is whatever you didn't socket previously. That is if RNG smiles upon thee. In the gloves, blood rage at level 1 and a flame ability blasphemy setup. In the boots, flame dash and enduring cry linked to second wind and blood magic. In the helmet, Immortal Call linked to increased duration and blood magic, in the shield, vitality and malevolence, and finally in the weapon, Wave of Conviction linked to inspiration and combustion. With all of that out of the way, let's conclude this rather scuffed experience. It was a challenge, not only in the build choosing department but also in the execution. It was a humbling experience though, because solo self-found is something that I definitely do not play. Adapting your build, gear and choices on the go is definitely an enriching lesson. However, scuffing the event by removing divination card turn-ins and a crafting bench is outright evil, which makes you depend on RNG even more. This character being living proof of that. I died 8 times in total to my road to 90. Not a good number, but also not a terrible one, considering the predicaments involved. And to be quite honest, I did like Righteous Fire. So much so that I may have to reheat this entire concept for the flashback event. I am interested in an actual build and not duct tape holding gear and a person together. The playstyle is an acquired taste though, in the sense that you Warcry, generate endurance charges, sacrifice them for Immortal Call, gain damage, Warcry again to gain more damage and generate more charges and sustain the degen, while also having Blood Rage up as you run past enemies, occasionally firing Wave of Conviction towards rares to trigger both Ash and Elemental Overload. However, it is not a run in the park. My teamful had theory is that Triple G was aware of Righteous Fire's clearing capabilities down there, and a good chunk of the monsters, even at lower delves, have a crap ton of fire resistance. Now, this is not something that I think they implemented for the event. I feel like this was a thing back when delve was implemented into the actual game 2 years ago. So at the end of the day, I think they were always aware that Righteous Fire was gonna be a little bit of a cheeky build to play with down there. However, coming back to the actual build, it is not a super complex character to get going, but it is going to be a bit challenging. Though on a regular non-scuffed league, then this should be pretty chill for anything really. With all of that said, that concludes Endless Delve, at least for me. Later this week we are gonna be going over an actual Righteous Fire semi-league starter or maybe something else, you never know, but still, thank you so much for watching tonight's video. I hope that you enjoyed it and be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Take care, have a nice start to your week, and I'll catch you again with more PoE soon. Peace out.
I cannot do this yet.